what we don't realize, I think, as a community, is how many families like myself are going through tough times.
To people who have lost their social supports or burned bridges, they need to reconnect into community.
Once we get them housed, that's when we see the success start to happen.
Homelessness isn't a lifestyle, it's temporary.
We need more affordable housing in the region. More housing in general would help, but more affordable housing would be helpful.
Homelessness is very personal. People have lost either all of their belongings, all of their social supports. They're very open and raw. So implementing dignity into who they are, into the core of who they are, through our interactions or one-on-one talks is probably the most rewarding, because we get to see real life change happen.
In 2010-2011, I did a sort of a 12-month study on one individual in the community, and I came up to $110,000 just for that one person.
Typical homeless client for myself would be a male aged 45 and up, typically addiction or mental health issues. For the most part though, you'd be surprised, a lot of the people I run into out on the streets at one time or another, they had a $60,000, $75,000 a year job, they had a family at home. Something or another has gone wrong and everything fell apart from there, and they've basically found themselves in the gaps of the system with nobody to reach out to them and no one to help them and let them know where they can find the help that they need.
Their life is broken. Their life is not connected to anyone. Almost all of the people that come into a shelter have lost their social supports in the way that they either aren't able to live with someone that would typically help them out, like a family member or a friend. They may have burned bridges with them through addiction or mental health or some other unforeseen circumstance.
Recently, their EI has exhausted, and they're coming into our doors, maybe a family of 4. They have no income. They're at risk of losing their home.
We have women who are fleeing abuse, as well as people who have lost their homes due to either the loss of job, not enough income supported by Ontario Works. We also have people who are experiencing domestic breakdowns. Their marriage has dissolved and they've not lived on their own for a long period of time. We also deal with a lot of women who have either mental health or addiction concerns.
At times we've had up to 100 youth living on their own, going to school in St. Catharines and Thorold. They're kids who probably are coming from fractured homes, have mental health concerns that were diagnosis. They possibly have some fetal alcohol syndrome, some substance use of their own. They've somehow fallen through the cracks.
They become vulnerable and very susceptible to crime and violence, drug and alcohol abuse, bullying and isolation. So when they start to feel these things, they usually just go downward and end up
staying at a friend's house, and then they'll stay there until they have used those resources up, and then they'll find another friend, and then they'll find another friend until they've exhausted all of their resources. And then at that point is where their schooling has been affected, their attendance is decreased, their ability to perform in school has significantly decreased, and now they're behind in credits. They have no one to turn to because they have left their home, and they're in that predicament of, what do I do? The only thing I have left is to leave my home community, leave my school, and attend a shelter.
Once we're at each individual stops, I'm off the truck out in the crowd speaking with people, finding out what resources they need, letting them know where they can find that help, or if it's something that I can provide them off the truck, I'll provide it right off the truck, like a sleeping bag, hats, mitts, things like that. And then as the evening goes on, just touching base with clients I've had from the past, obtaining new clients, making sure they have what they need, following up with previous clients, making sure they've done the things I've asked them to check into probably a couple of days beforehand, and just making sure they have everything they need to get them through to the following day.
So aside from safe food, safe shelter, laundry facilities, shower facilities, 27 beds for males, 8 beds for females, we also offer access to social services that people might not have had a connection to prior to coming in.
This fund is so important now more than ever, because with the community startup now gone, we're going through those funds at a rapid rate.
I go out into the women's homes that we have found and work with them on a Niagara Regional Housing Supplement, which brings their rent down to an affordable cost. I then work with the women on a weekly basis, offering them supports in various areas, assisting them with going to counseling, teaching them budgeting skills, assertiveness training. Sometimes I'm just going to be an ear to listen.
We can even provide them a lot of life skills training, so even doing their homework, creating a budget. Some of them don't even know how to access the bank itself. Have never stepped in a bank. They need to open a bank account for Ontario Works, so a lot of it is just getting them set up and having the ability to be stable on their own. Well, without this program, they wouldn't have the ability to either stay in school or receive the basic needs that they have that they need in life that sometimes we take for granted. So they have the choice: do I stay in school and couch surf from friend to friend to friend, or do I receive the basic needs in life?
We have demonstrated over the years that those coming into us have maintained housing for 6 months or longer, where in the past they had been using all of the services in the community. They had been chronically homeless.
We need more affordable housing in the region. More housing in general would help, but more affordable housing would be helpful. Increased income for those on assistance, or better employment opportunities even for them.
There's a whole system that has to change around youth and youth homelessness. More supports, not to give up on them so easily, so readily.
They're also needing shorter wait times for services. I mean, sometimes they need to get into a treatment program, but there's a 6-month wait list for it, so there's a great chance that they're going to relapse in the meantime of that, so we definitely need shorter wait times.
The problem that we are facing and that we need to address as we proceed is finding a landlord who will rent to a youth that we service. They're very afraid to rent to a youth because they're so young, and maybe if they have access to shelter before, they have that stigma that is attached to them, whereas they are great kids who just need to be given that chance.
What I love about my job is the rewards I get that are not even close to being monetary. I mean, the smile on somebody's face when I do something as simple as give them a clean pair of socks. You wouldn't believe the expression on their face. They're so grateful. And it's a pair of socks. You know, a lot of us take it for granted that we can pull those out of our drawer, but for these guys, it totally makes their day when you can just do something like that. So the rewards I get just from helping the people, that's where I love my job the most.